Welcome all to the Sunday morning service at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Laguna Beach. My name is Pamela Flodman, and I will be serving as your worship associate for today. Each Sunday, anywhere there is a service held in a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a chalice is lit. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith. So if you have joined us this morning by Zoom, I invite you to light a chalice within your home as our guest minister, Reverend Rayna Hamre, lights the chalice for us here at UUFLB. Our chalice lighting words today are from Ben Soul, a lifelong UU who attends First Parish in Lexington, Massachusetts. Out of the darkness, light. Out of the light, warmth. Out of the warmth, joy. Out of the joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for the time we are here with one another. So thank you, Reverend Rayna, for joining us at UUFLB this morning and for lighting our chalice to begin our time of worship. Today, we are continuing our series of hybrid worship services. For today's service, we have members and friends who have gathered in person at the Fellowship Building here in Laguna Beach, masked and physically distanced, as well as others who are joining us from many remote connections by Zoom. The ability to be together, both in person and virtually, has been one of the unexpected benefits of the pandemic. It seems strange to think of joy which has come out of the pandemic, but it does bring me joy each week to gather and worship with those who are joining us from afar, as well as those who are here at the fellowship. We are a strong community with potential to grow and potential to reach beyond the four walls of this building here in Laguna Beach. At UUFLB, we are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, whomever you love, no matter your age or gender, your ancestral or ethnic background, economic or immigration status, and whatever sincere questions that you bring with you today, we welcome you to our community of mutual caring and serious intent to grow as spiritual and moral beings. Welcome to all. It is good to be together this morning in all of the ways that we can join together in worship. And I would like to say a special thank you to the many individuals who keep everything running smoothly here at the fellowship each week. Candy and Paul, who prepare the building on Sunday mornings, make sure the entryway is swept up and the flowers are watered and that there are candles and fresh coffee. And the audiovisual crew with Dawn working magic as our Zoom tech and Paul overseeing the audiovisuals here in the sanctuary. And of course, many thanks to our worship committee members who have been hard at work arranging meaningful worship services, especially to Kendra, who does wonders in scheduling our guest speakers. So on the slide that Dawn will put up for us now is a list of the upcoming services for the month of February. And I hope that you'll all be able to join us. Next Sunday, Reverend Tom Owen Toll will return to our pulpit for a service that he has titled Hard Blessings, Doing the Work of Love. Then on February 13th, we are fortunate that another favorite UUFLB guest speaker, Emmeline Cordingley, will be returning to lead our service. And on February 20th, we are delighted that Reverend Rayna will again be joining us here at UUFLB. At the end of the month, on February 27th, for the fourth Sunday, we will be welcoming Charles Langley of Public Watchdogs for a social justice service that Noreen has helped to arrange. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for many of these services. And if you're not able to join us, we capture the services when possible by recording so that you can view them afterwards from our Facebook page. But today I'm feeling especially grateful to our board president, Mike, Tom, who has been handling the finances, and Cindy, board member, and thankful to this board for the careful stewardship that has put UUFLB in position to be able to consider engaging a part-time minister. After the service, 2 weeks from today on February 13th, we will be having a congregational meeting to discuss what we want for our future. So please join us on February 13th by Zoom or in person to speak your thoughts and to hear each other and to engage with all within our UUFLB community. So for our service today, we are delighted to welcome back to our fellowship Reverend Rayna Hamre, who has been a friend of UUFLB for many years and a frequent guest minister. Rayna is a longtime Unitarian Universalist who grew up in Orange County and served as a UU lay leader and as our director of religious education prior to becoming ordained. She holds a Master of Divinity degree and a Master of Arts in History. Reverend Rayna and I were just sharing that we both hold 2 masters, which is something you often have to explain to people. She is committed to her work in social justice, including serving as a county-appointed commissioner on the Board of Community Action Partnership Orange County, and as a member of CLU, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice in Orange County. She also leads meditation classes and provides ritual training for her students who are exploring a mystical path. When Reverend Rayna came to UUFLB last fall, she shared with us that she believes Unitarian Universalism is at a turning point, and that caring for each other and the world is a priority for us as UUs during these challenging times. Today, Reverend Rayna is bringing us a service which is focused on joy. The service is entitled Thresholds, Finding Hope and Joy in the Winter of 2022. And the winter of 2022 is certainly an interesting time. As a world community, we continue to struggle with the challenges of COVID and the many changes that are occurring in its wake. In describing the service, Reverend Rayna wrote that many believe we do stand at a threshold where we face not only a world crisis, but an important chance to reset our personal, local, and global behaviors. As a liberal religion rooted in a commitment to change, today we will explore how 21st century Unitarian Universalists can engage with the world and with each other. And we will look at ways to align our actions for justice and peace and share hope and joy with each other and the world as we cross this complex threshold in the winter of 2022. Over the last several months, Reverend Rayna has been generous and enthusiastic in sharing with us some ideas about the new year at UUFLB and for Unitarian Universalism and possibilities for the future. So following today's service, I hope you have time to stay for a bit and connect with each other and with Reverend Rayna, both those of you who are here in the fellowship building and also our attendees on Zoom during the virtual cafe. Come together to share our ideas and our hopes and our vision. This is how we build strong community together, and this is how we can make a difference in our world. So over the past week, I have been thinking about the topic of this service, joy, and also the topic of resetting our priorities. And the concept of approaching our challenge with a joyful mindset has truly resonated with me. And then this week, with the passing of Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, I have found myself rereading his words and reflecting on his teaching. Thich Nhat Hanh was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, a peace activist, a prolific author, a poet, a teacher, known as the father of mindfulness and recognized as a main inspiration for engaged Buddhism in the modern world. So for our centering thought today, I have chosen words from Thich Nhat Hanh which speak to me and reflect my thoughts as I prepared for this service. So if you are joining us from home, please unmute yourself and join as we read the words of our centering thought together. the present moment
present moment
filled
is
with
filled
joy
with joy and happiness. If you are
If you are attentive, you will see it.
See it.
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Thank you. Our opening hymn this morning is number 42, Morning So Fair to See. So we invite those of you who are joining by Zoom to sing out from home, even though you are muted. The words will be in the chat. And in the fellowship building here, we may join in the music by humming quietly or softly singing the words. There are hymnals in the back of the sanctuary if you want to pick one up. This is number 42 in the gray hymnal, Morning So Fair to See. So please enjoy the music of our amazing and talented music director, Carole, as we sing this familiar hymn.
Good morning, everyone. Please join me. Morning so fair to see, mine veiled in mystery, gloriously earth and resplendent sky. Pilgrims we march along, singing our joyous song, as though an earthly paradise. Tall are the verdant trees, deep on the flashing seas, glorious each wonder the seasons bring. Brighter is faith's surmise, shining in pilgrim's eyes, from which our waking spirits free. Age after age we rise, beneath the eternal skies, into the light from the shadowed paths. Still shall our pilgrim song, buoyant and great and strong, resound while life and mountains last.
Morning, and it's wonderful to be back at UUFLB. So many thanks to Pam, the worship committee, and everybody here.
3 days, like, just more. It's been like, there's a lot of
Making it a wonderful Sunday. Our call to worship. The words are by Reverend Kathleen McTeague. You who are brokenhearted, who woke today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind, come in. You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with every step, come in. You who are fearful, who live with shadows hovering over your shoulders, come in. This place is sanctuary and it is for you. You who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows, come in. You who walk through the world with lightness and grace, you who awoke this morning with strength and hope, you who have everything to give, come in. This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters of your life. The place where you are called by the world's need. Come in. Here we offer in love, here we receive in gratitude, and here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose. Come in.
Let us take a moment now to remind ourselves why we come together as a community. I invite you to read these words together when and if it feels right for you. So if you wish, please unmute your microphone if you're joining us from home. It is so powerful when we can join our voices together. The words of the unison affirmation will be on your screens. Please join me in reading. Love
Love
is the
is the
spirit
spirit
of
of
this
this
fellowship.
fellowship,
Congregation.
service.
and
Fellowship
service is its law.
This is our
This is our
Great
great covenant,
to
to
dwell
dwell
together
together
in
in peace,
to
to seek the truth in love,
and to
and
help
to
one
help
another.
one another.
So we have come now to a time in our service to briefly share important events that have touched our lives in the past week. During this time of sharing our joys and concerns, we will pause the recording of the service. Joys. When we share our sorrows, I know that we help to lessen them for each other. And when we share our joys, we amplify them. We really do value this fellowship as a sharing and supportive community. So thank you all for being here this morning and for sharing. In 2018, designer Ingrid Feta-Lee gave a TED Talk in which she shared her reflections on the tangible roots of joy, on joy and how to find and create more of it in this world. So to set the stage for our exploration of joy this morning, we will watch the first few minutes of her TED Talk. I love those reflections on joy. And I know we'll be thinking about it more through the service today and maybe talking about joy after the service. But for now, as we approach the time for offering, we remind ourselves that it is as much a blessing to be able to give as it is to receive. And in this self-governing, self-sustaining community, we recognize that it is our responsibility, and it's our responsibility to do both well. So as we begin our offering, we invite you to give what you will for this fellowship that has meant so much to each of us, for a fellowship that meant much to those who came before us, and that will mean much to people who will join us in the future, maybe to people we will never know. Give what you will, for we are a generous people. We are empowered by the innumerable gifts of those who join in covenant with us, and we know that all of our gifts generously given are needed for this fellowship and its continued good work in the world. So we will be passing a basket within the fellowship, and the information on your screen provides additional ways in which you can give. Please join us now in singing to each other words of sincere gratitude. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
And I've changed up our readings and meditations a little bit today. The death of dear teacher Thich Nhat Hanh sort of changed the reflections for the morning. So our meditation is by Reverend Jonathan Kwong. Spirit of life, you speak to us from the east and the west. You speak to us from the north and the south. You call to us from the depths of our being. We respond with enthusiasm and fervor. We cry out from Manila to Maui. We shout from Alaska to Alabama. We proclaim your wondrous love from the highest mountain to the deepest ocean. Our voices must be heard. We shall not be silent. Our voices must be heard. A moment of reflection. There's so much to talk about today. In addition to today's sermon, I will be available to answer any and all questions after the service about your exciting new possibilities for the fellowship in 2022. In order to talk about my stated topics for today, resets and joy, let's look at the larger picture first. We seem to be far away from joy. As a world community, we continue to struggle with the challenge of COVID, as Pam mentioned and spoke about, and the many changes that are occurring in its wake. The US is facing possible increased military actions in Eastern Europe. We need to work immediately if we have a chance to save our environment for future generations and our own generation. In terms of our personal health, our mental health professionals are telling us more disturbing news. During our COVID-related, very serious stresses and strains, many of us are caught between depression and flourishing. So we are now languishing. When I read that word languishing, my imagination took me to thoughts of upper-class women in the 1800s, maybe with a mint julep in their hand, suffering from a headache or French ennui, and languishing. If we are languishing, then there's even more reason to push to find joy. As I sat down to write this sermon, I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? I've promised these good people who might be languishing, not happiness or fun or even contentment, but joy for this service. So, as I got further into fulfilling the promise to present joy, my quest kind of took on a life of its own, as things often do. The great news is I have some joy to share with you today. I realized also is that we stand on many thresholds with COVID and change in this time of the Great Reset, but you stand on the threshold of many joyous changes for the fellowship. You've had a break in your ministerial leadership and time to explore your own hearts and needs. You're experienced in hybrid worship, and I want to commend you. I think you do just an awesome job. It's really amazing how well you integrate the folks who are here and our folks who are with us on Zoom. It's really very, very admirable. This is the perfect time for a reset, I think, for all of you, and to think what you really want, and will bring you joy as you move forward. I also want to mention, I'm not making light of any kind of mental distress. And if anyone is feeling pervasively sad during this time, it is best to seek out a mental health professional, of course. Before we seek joy, let's look at the concept of the Great Reset. The Great Reset is based on a recent book by Okay, I'll pick it up at the Great Reset. Okay. So we had a little interlude here about pets and how they bring us joy. So that was a part of the discussion for the morning. Before we seek joy, let's look at the concept of the Great Reset. The Great Reset is based on the recent book by Klaus Schwab and Terry Maillet titled COVID-19, The Great Reset, published in 2020. They see the world in a crisis and at a big turning point right now. I found earlier references to the concept of resetting aspects of our lives. So this is not a new idea. You can search older things and the reset idea is in there. But as it's currently used now in wider culture, the book was written specifically in response to our COVID troubles. In Schwab and Maillet's words, we are at a crossroads. One path after COVID will take us to a better world, more inclusive, more equitable, and respectful of Mother Nature. The other will take us into a world that resembles the one we just left behind, but worse and constantly dogged by nasty surprises. They claim that out of the economic and societal cracks that were present pre-COVID, so these aren't new problems, we'll have an amazing chance to reset our world for the better. They divide their book into 3 sections, describing the reset first on a global, then on an economic, and then on the personal level. They're quite good at naming the problems we're facing and providing some hopeful visions for change. But what is lacking in the book, critics agree, and I also agree after I read the book, it's not a usable blueprint on exactly how to transform the world into a better place. They're good at diagnoses, but how we're going to get there, there was a lot of room for other folks to step in. Where I find the inspiration in this book is in their section on making personal resets. They have several suggestions on what we can do at an individual level to make our lives happier during and after this time. I'm going to include a church reset today, because that's where y'all are, for UUFLB, because joy is out there. Let's find it. I, as we all can, could use a little bit of joy right now. I set out on my quest on how to reset with joy, looking for inspiration. I went to our own Unitarian Universalist websites, typed in the word joy, hit the search button, and as I looked through my first set of results, I didn't really see much that spoke to joy. I tried again and again, and now I was seriously getting worried about the state of Unitarian Universalism in relationship to joy. Where is our joy, I'm wondering? Some writings contained the word joy, were very thoughtful, but danged if they weren't kind of depressing. Then I hit gold. I found out that many UU congregations are also searching for joy right now, and they're having the same discussion across our denomination. UU sermons and services about joy now abound, so you can go out and find all kinds of services and sermons. I didn't watch them, but I will. I wanted to come to this service and give this presentation with a fresh perspective on finding joy. Sometimes when you hear another minister, it's kind of like, oh no, you can't not think about whatever they said. So I usually like to do my own and then go back and hear other speakers. Some writings contain the word joy, were very thoughtful. And again, it was like, wow, I don't think I can use this. I then decided to go further afield with my search. In a Google search online, many of the things I read on joy just seemed too sentimental or trite. And at one point, I began to get too much. So then I'm like overwhelmed with joy, like, this is too much. When I found the TED Talk by Ingrid Fettel-Lee, something really clicked in my brain, my heart. Many of us do a great deal of meditative and internal work. Sometimes we forget about the importance of the external world to our senses. And we are wired as human beings for certain things: fear, joy, love. I loved her talk. Just her dress made me smile. For those who have trouble discerning colors, she wears a very bright dress, and the pictures she shows are all things also with bright colors. But there's more there. Later in the video, she talks about not only our experience of joy around color, but also about how humans respond to shapes. Apparently, there are certain shapes that relax our brains and bodies, and they tend to be rounded shapes, like these windows in the building. This is being studied by neuroscientists who conjecture that it is part of our biology to register good feelings when we see rounded shapes. Anxiety pops up when we see sharp and jagged shapes. So I encourage everyone to watch the video. It's a wonderful presentation, and she has distilled a lot of the research. The other joyful surprise I found was the National Public Radio's Joy Generator, and I mentioned this when we were on a little bit of a break. This will provide you with sounds and sights that bring you joy based on neuroscientific research. Round shapes, many animals, cute animals, bubbles. There's something there, and you get to pick a category on the Joy Generator. So it was really fun to go in and look at all the different pictures. The National Public Radio article that includes the Joy Generator link also provided three solid suggestions for us, guaranteed to bring joy, that I can share with you today. The first one is share some appreciation. The second one is take an awe walk, AWE. And the third is to listen to a calm concert in nature. So if we look at number one, gratitude, UC Irvine psychologist Belinda Campos recommends safely getting together with friends and writing out on a card 3 things that you're grateful for in the other person, or that they do. Then share the cards with each other. Like many a scientist, she's testing this in her lab, not for fun, but to study for measurable reactions. So she has all her lab assistants writing out the cards. And, it's like they get to feel good, but they also have to measure it. But we could do this for fun, for joy. The second idea, taking an awe walk, is walking outside for a short time and shifting your focus outward. Take a 5-minute walk outside each day where you intentionally shift your thoughts and your vision outward into your everyday world. Nothing's too small to be enjoyed. A flower, grass, the bark of a tree, dirt, clouds. Practice having that feeling of awe as you walk. Psychologist Linda Feldman Barrett says, let yourself feel awe at the power of nature. Practice that feeling over and over again, she says. Practice feeling awe at colorful clouds and intricate pattern on a flower or the sight of a full moon. Again, she mentions those rounded shapes. And then number 3 is listen to a calm nature experience. And this is one of my favorites. Sit outside and listen to the natural sounds of birds and wind and water if it's available. We happen to have a lot of birds around my house. I love taking out a cup of coffee in the morning and sitting outside and just listening and watching the birds. And since my cat became an indoor cat, that is much easier. The birds are much braver. They surprised me. When I started actively watching the crows, they weren't happy. They started yelling every afternoon near my patio. It was quite an experience. One day I looked out and there were about 30 or 40 crows marching across my patio right by my patio door. And several of them turned around. Most of them were just looking straight ahead, but it was a really amazing experience. And I'm not sure what that message was, but they were very deliberate. Nature surprises and brings unexpected joys. These ideas and suggestions, in addition to the Joy Generator, speak to us on the individual reset level. They also provide a backdrop and an opportunity for us to consider what would bring joy to UUFLB in the next 2 years. How would you like this community to look? What connects you to this congregation that makes you smile? What brings you joy here? So let's just we're going to take 1 minute and be silent and just think about those questions. What connects you to the congregation? What makes you smile here? What brings you joy here? And if you'd like, we can just popcorn words, like one word. Well, what's that thing? What's that top on your list?
Activities.
Activities. Anybody else? Community. Teamwork.
Nature.
Music. Art.
Zoom at noon.
Wonderful. Wonderful. If we look at some possibilities in terms of these 3 stated activities for creating joy, perhaps we can envision some solid and achievable possibilities today for UUFLB. Some activities that could begin very soon or be added as participation increases. Again, the 3 suggestions are showing gratitude, the awe walk, and the calm nature experiences. I'm envisioning, and again, things will work out as they work out as you select a part-time minister or choose not to. But I offer these suggestions as a gift today. There could be a gratitude small group where each person shares a memory or a story or an artistic work. Then the participants write up 3 things to tell each person about what was shared or about them that we appreciate. This could be done in person or online. I see Sunday services as our awe walks across the denomination, where we pause in our busy lives and focus in on meaningful aspects of existence, our environment, social justice issues. We walk together, sharing this awareness and reflections during our UU worship services. So UUFLB is already providing one of these joy-inducing activities for the congregation by providing interesting, beautiful, and challenging services. The third suggestion is the calm concerts, the enjoyment of nature. In the future, UUFLB might find ways to enjoy together the outdoors, hosting walks, or perhaps gathering at a location that offers access to all levels of physical ability. And I got here early because I never went out and really looked at your patio. You have an amazing patio space. So there are some possibilities there for just inviting people in the neighborhood to come by, to stop by. I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but I do have a list of possibilities for 2022 that we can explore together after the service. There are so many opportunities to engage in expanded social justice work in our county. Perhaps the congregation would be interested in the creation of new small groups, such as a grief and caregivers group, an LGBTQ plus and allies group, UU Topics coffee chat at a local coffee house, a meditation group, a dream exploration group, a book discussion group. Most of these would be fairly easy to set up on Zoom, in addition to your wonderful Zoom at Noon program. So these are extra things on top of the things that you're already doing. With my own background, I am also qualified to teach classes on mysticism, both comparative and daily practices. Also pagan mysticism. I do a great deal of ritual work, and I'm very qualified to teach comparative world religions, and I'm sure there are other people here who have those qualifications also. I'm a longtime member, as Pam mentioned, of Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice, and would love for others to be involved there. So I can suggest, if social justice folks want to be more involved, I am already involved in several organizations where they would love to have us, or you, or us. But there's just so much going on right now. And we don't have to unless everybody wants to, and really that's the oomph that the congregation wants to develop and go. There are so many places to kind of step in and help and support these incredible groups and plans that are going on right now. And it is actually an exciting time in Orange County. I am very partial to Community Action Partnership. I just got asked to be on the board by Katrina Foley. I represent They are based more in North County, but it is an organization that provides support for housing and youth groups, all kinds of programs in Orange County. And it's near and dear to my heart. And my husband and I try and support them in so very many different ways. So, however, UUFLB, I could talk forever. I get all, excited about all the cool things that are out there. However, you at UUFLB choose to move forward during this time of reset for the congregation, there might be these or other ideas that I can provide to spark your interest and help you to share with each other and with the wider world. We are the keepers of that great and profound joy that is called Unitarian Universalism. May we share this gift generously and wisely. Amen. Salam, shalom, namaste, and blessed be. Now, please rise as you're interested and able, and sing quietly or hum along with number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when home is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll sing love the song that rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Now is the time for us to extinguish the chalice at UUFLB and to extinguish the chalices within our homes. And the chalice extinguishing words today are from Reverend Brian Keeley, who is minister of the Unitarian Church in Edmonton, Alberta. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of us. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet.
I'd like to close out our service with the words of a dear teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, again, who passed away this past week. He had much to say about joy in his 95 years on this earth. We can smile, breathe, walk, eat our meals in a way that allows us to be in touch with the abundance of happiness that is available. We are very good at preparing to live, but not very good at living. We know how to sacrifice 10 years for a diploma, and we are willing to work very hard to get a job, a car, a house, and so on. But we have difficulty remembering that we are alive in the present moment. Every breath we take, every step we make can be filled with peace, joy, and serenity. We need only to be awake, alive in the present moment. And now please join us for our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.